Building the Mike Campbell Red Dog Telecaster, Part 2. Hey everybody, Jace Allen here. Welcome back to the channel. So, got all the parts for the Mike Campbell Red Dog Telecaster Partscaster build that I'm doing. So we got all the parts laid out in the shop, out in the garage, but the first thing we need to do is figure out how we're going to route the body and how we're going to route the pick guard to fit the dual humbuckers. So let's get to that first. So we're going to do some layout on the computer here. I decided I'm going to use the CNC machine for this because it's going to be way easier. Everything's all set up. First thing we need to do is create the pattern for it. So we're going to go into my program here called Vectric Aspire, and this is sort of like a CAD program, a mix between a CAD and a Illustrator type program, but it's specifically designed for sending jobs to the CNC machine. Now, if you have like Illustrator or Inkscape, Inkscape is a free program. It's very similar to Illustrator. You can use those programs to pull in a photograph of your pickguard, scale it so that it's roughly the correct size, and then do your drawings on there, and then probably print it out to paper, and then you can create a jig to do the routing, and then you'd have to use the proper diameter router bit so that the corners, because your template will actually be square, and then the route, you'd have to use the router bit with a little collet on it to protect it so it doesn't go past the pattern, and then you would use whatever radius you needed for those humbucker, the opening of the humbucker's got a radius corner on it, and you would use that same diameter bit for your router. Well, in this case, it's going to function similar using the CNC machine. So just kind of follow along and we'll kind of translate it to using a hand router from there. So we're going to create, I'm actually going to pull in a file. Let's go to Guitars Garden, or not Guitars Garden, sorry, Electric Herald. That's where the parts or templates and whatnot. So you can get the free guitar templates here. And there are some pick guard templates as well. So if you go to page 2 here, then you can find the Telecaster. So there's a Telecaster. And then you want a simple body. This one here, which is kind of like a blueprint, that's kind of messy. So here you go, this Telecaster body and pick guard. That's probably a good place to start. And that is a PDF. So download that to your computer, somewhere where you will remember where it's at. And then open that. So a PDF is going to be wireframe or vectored or whatever, however you want to call it. And you need that in order to, you can probably do bitmapped images with, if you're going to use a hand template, but so I'm going to create a new file in Aspire. I'm going to do, my thickness is going to be, I'll do the thickness of the body itself, so that's 1 3/4. And then a template or a blank for a guitar body is usually in the neighborhood of 16 by 20. So we'll do that. Oops, we want 16 by 20. I usually like to work horizontal. So, okay, so we're doing, we don't need to do double-sided, and we could do 16 by 20, 1 3/4, date and position, all that can stay the same. So if you're not using Aspire, just don't worry about it. Just import your PDF into Illustrator or Inkscape, but make sure your document size is 16 by 20. So then we can import vectors and then do your Where'd it go? Documents, pictures. Fender Telecaster body pickguard. Okay, so here it comes in like this. I'm going to move it over. Actually, I just want the pickguard, so I'm going to make the pickguard its own layer. So I'm going to move to layer, new layer, pickguard, and we'll make that green. And then we're going to do the body, excuse me, as its own layer. And we're going to just rename the layer that it's on body. And then any other layers you don't need, just get rid of those. And we'll make the body color pink. That sounds good. Okay, so let's rotate all this so we're horizontal, because that'll fit our blank. So we want rotate, and we want minus 45, minus 90. There it is, okay. And okay, so then we're gonna put our body right in the middle. Okay, so now this, okay, let's get our pickguard and bring that in so that it fits where it's supposed to go. This is why you work in layers, so you can shut off a layer when you're not working on it. So see, this is, okay, so we can turn off the pickguard for now. Because really all we're concerned with, you can delete some of this extra stuff, these holes and everything, none of that is, you don't need any of that at this point. Because really all we're concerned with is, I don't really need any of this stuff. Or, well, the middle line, I would keep the middle line. Don't delete that. Where is undo? There we go. Okay. So this is sort of what my painted body from Guitar Fetish looks like. And these are the ferrules. These are on, on the reverse side of the body, so we don't really need those. So we can get, whoops, I keep deleting that middle line. There we go. Okay, so, and then these are the, wait, those actually would be screw holes, wouldn't they? Yeah, excuse me, I want to keep those. So we can delete that. There, we can delete those and the bigger. Okay, so then these are the the string holes, bridge pickup, and then this is going to be routed out, and then that'll be routed out of the pickguard as well. So we'll turn on the pickguard. Okay, so that's really all we need. So now I took pictures of, so we're going to import a bitmap, and I took pictures of the body. Where did I put them? Zip file. Okay, there they are. So then, you want to go to File, you want to import bitmap, and then you want to pull in a picture of your guitar body. And then we're going to scale it. And by scale it, I just mean make the photo the correct scale of the, the outline, the vector. And, it's not going to match exact because a photo, camera distorts stuff. So, but you just want a rough idea. These XGP bodies are, you can see they're vintage style, they call it US spec or whatever, but they're basically the vintage style. So, okay, so we can take this bitmap and we'll call it bitmap body. And I just use that as a reference, just so you can see what it looks like. But you don't really need to keep it on. So, okay. So then our pickguard, I took a picture of that as well. And this is all just just to kind of make sure that things sort of fit the way they're supposed to. So you just kind of rotate it around and size it. It's a little big. There we go. And then if you turn on the pick guard, so you can see it's basically the same size. I'm thinking we're good there. So let's see what happened there. So it probably put that on. So we're going to move that to a layer, new layer, bitmap, pick guard, and just make it whatever color. There. Okay, so we've kind of verified the sizes. So we can turn off the bitmap for the body and the pick guard. So now we want to figure out where to put our humbuckers. So we're going to eliminate, well, let's just leave that there for now for reference. Okay, so now go to, just type in a humbucker template. So there you can see all kinds of different templates for humbuckers. Now with the Telecaster, the humbucker is, screwed to the pick guard. So you don't really need these types of, yeah, see, this is what you need for that. You need the opening and the little screw holes. So let me grab one of the humbuckers, and so that we get the right sizes. Okay, so we have the pick guard, which is just blank. There's no places for pickups. And then this is the pickup. So there's two of these humbuckers with the chrome covers on them. So this is 1.5 by 2.742. That's the sort of the exact size. So let's take a look at this and see what this has to say. This is the Amazon. If it gives any dimensions. Yeah, see, it's not going to give any dimensions. So let's just see for humbucker pick guard template. Pickup routing templates for, okay, that's StewMax. So most of these are, when you search for that template, you're gonna see a lot of these pre-made templates that they're trying to sell you. So this is in millimeters. This might be good. This might be usable. So this says 77.5 millimeters. Let's get millimeters to inches. So what did that say? 77.5 is 3.05. So let's see if that fits these screw holes. Let me make sure I'm in zeroed out. Okay. Yep. 3.05. So that works. And then the opening is 70.7 millimeters. 70.7, which is 2.78. So that should be big enough. Oh, the other way. 2.78 is going to be, yeah, it's going to be perfect. This thing will fit right in there, right tight. And then what is the 38.9 millimeters? It's 1.53. That's going to be pretty close. So we might fudge that a little bit. We might do 1.54. Okay, so we're on track. So let's kind of create our own, and then I'm not sure how that radius is probably I don't know how to find radiuses. I don't have any radius gauges, but for the humbucker, I'm guessing that's probably a 1/8 of an inch, probably. Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say that was 1/8 of an inch radius. Okay, so we'd just take a rectangle tool and we'll radius 1/8 of an inch, and we want this to be, what did I say? I don't even remember. 1.5. Let's do 1.55. 1.55 by 2.8. We'll do 2.8. 2.8. Okay, so there's your square. So that's your opening for your humbucker. So now we need to, I don't know why this picture, it does that on this program. Oh, because it put it on that layer. So, so I gotta move this to the pickguard layer. There we go. So actually I'm gonna move it, yeah, to the pickguard layer. So we're actually working on the pickguard. So let's shut off the body layer, because we can just do almost like a swimming pool route for the body. Okay, rotate 90. Okay, so there's the, and we probably want to put it right on the edge of the old pickup. And then let's see, let's find our center line too. Most programs have these, have guidelines. You can pull the guidelines down like this, and you want to make sure that that is center. That way you have a center reference. So when you want to align things like this piece here, it's a little off. Arrow keys, there you go. That's pretty good. Okay, so then you need to do the holes, which you could put those in with just a regular drill. I don't have it. I mean, the holes are really small, so 1/8 of an inch might be too big. That's my smallest bit. Nope, 1/8 will work. Might be a little big, but the screws, you know, the heads of the screws are pretty big. Okay, so go to your hole tool, and we'll do 1/8. And just pop that down. It did it again. I'm in the wrong layer. Let me make sure I'm in the right layer. Pickguard, there we go. You want to highlight the layer you're working in. Okay, so back to the circle tool, 1/8. Just pop those down, and then we'll move them out. We'll space them out. You can draw a line and make your line. What did I say? If you don't have calipers, I'm using calipers here to find my distances, they are really helpful. So we're going to go 304. 3.04. Okay. So that's how far apart you want your holes. And they are, so that's center to center. And then they are going to be equal distance, you know, they're going to be aligned to the center of the, so you want this, and you can probably group so then it acts like one piece, see, when you click on it. So then you can adjust these to the center. Okay. There's probably an easier way to do this, but this is the way I know how. So then I'm going to bring another guideline over here to be the other center. That's pretty close. Okay. So now you move your center of your pickups right to that center. Okay. So now that you know, these should be in the, well, they don't look like they're even. So why is that? Let me grab just the line. So ungroup this. How do you ungroup? There we go. Ungroup. So that's correct. And that's correct. So you can probably get rid of the guideline because the guideline is, or the, yeah, the green guideline that we made. And then just select those two guys. See, and it'll show the, so it should be the right distance. It looks like it's closer here than here. I wonder if this is the right diameter. Nope. That's not. I don't know what happened there. It went to one. Okay, that's why. So we'll snap to the middle. There we go. That was a smaller radius. It must have reset itself. So, okay, if that makes sense. Okay, so now you've got your, there's your humbucker cut out. So then we can just get rid of the single coil. Okay, so then another thing I want to do is pull up an actual picture of the Mike Campbell Red Dog. And then get an idea of where. So I'm going to save that image. That's a bitmap. It's a WebP file. I don't know what that is. So I always just open them with Paint. I'm in Windows, so Paint, and then I do File Save As JPEG. But if you're working in Illustrator or Inkscape, chances are you can import a WebP file. You shouldn't have any issues there, but this Aspire program doesn't play well with those odd file types. So let's see, picture, guitar. What did I do? Import bitmap. Sorry, I think I was on vector. There we go. Okay, so then, oops, I'm going to move that to its own layer. New layer, bitmap, Mike's guitar. And then rotate it around. And well, it's almost the right size. So then resize it so that it is the right size. And then that way we can position the humbuckers where we want them. And just keep dragging the size until it's the right size. Okay, so that's pretty close. Okay, so you can see mine is pretty close. So we just want to copy the, so we're going to make sure we're in the pickguard layer. And then we want to select, whoops, can turn off the bitmap body. So we want to grab this pickup hole and hold shift and then grab the other ones, and then we'll just copy paste, and then move it to right about there. So then you can turn off Mike's body, and then see, so there's your pickguard with your humbuckers. So that's where we're going to route the holes at. And like I said, if you use an 1/8 inch router bit with a collet on it, and you just make square, you know, a square template, you could just tape it, you know, tape some sticks to the, you know, to your pickguard, or just, you know, I don't know, use a drill, cut the holes, and then use your, if you have a jigsaw or a bandsaw or something, cut those and then sand them down really good, and then you've just you know, like an inch thick piece of wood or 3/4 inch thick piece of wood, then you can use that as a template and position it on your pickguard where you want it, and then use an 1/8 inch bit, and then just use, you know, that collet and the 1/8 inch bit in a square template, and then it won't matter. You're you know, because the bit is round, so that'll create your rounded corners, and then just use a drill bit for the holes, if that makes sense. Okay, so now that we have our template for the pickguard, then we can turn on the body, and so then this is how we need to route out the body. So we are going to cut really close to that. So we're going to just hog out a piece that's, you know, they'll have to be big enough to accommodate these tabs, because there's tabs on the pickguard, or the, excuse me, the pickup. So we're going to come out probably about, whoops, we're going to come out about 3.44 inches. 3.45. It's plenty good. Actually, we can just come out in line with this, because that hole's already there. So if we just come out and come across, and this could actually be a little closer. This could almost be in line with the pickguard, but we'll leave it a little bit bigger. There. So then we move that to body layer. We can turn off the pick guard, and then we can come over here to this body layer, and that thing we just made, we can get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Oh, the little pieces there, get rid of those. And then weld it to these pieces. There. Whoops. That's not what I wanted, but that's fine. Well, let's undo that for a second. What was going on there? I guess we could just drag this up to there. There. Then get rid of that. I don't think that part's there. Okay. So there's the big route we're gonna there, get rid of those extra lines. There. Okay, so let's see, turn off that pickguard again. So then that's the pocket we're gonna route out. So that'll be fun. So then so again, you can use just a regular hand template for that and do it by hand. But I'm going to create a toolpath for a pocket. And how deep? What is the depth? I think they're 3/4. I think. So let's see. Telecaster pickup. Whoops. Pick up pocket. Jeez, if I could spell. Pocket depth. Telecaster pickup pocket depth. Telecaster pickup pocket depth. I'm pretty sure they're 3/4. And I know it shows it in the Electric Heralds. So let's just go there. That'll be easier. Electric Herald. Back down to page 2, to the Fender Telecaster, and then this blueprint thing here, that shows you the depths. So you want, damn it. There we go. So you want section pickup pocket depth 0.687. 0.687. But then the control cavity is 1.5. So I'm going to go 3/4 just so I have extra depth. I always find that the depths that they show on these vintage plans are not exactly accommodating, and these pickups have the the quick plugs and everything on them, so we want to make sure everything's gonna fit. So we're gonna do 3/4 of an inch depth, 1/4 inch end mill, and pocket 1 is fine. So okay. So there you go. There's our pickup pocket depth. Okay, so then what's going to happen here is, whoops, we want to set our datum position to the center, because we're going to figure out where the center is going to be for that cutout, and then we're going to position the tool right above that center. So, and you want material surface, not machine bed. Okay, so that's where it's going to start, is right in the middle. And we'll do test cuts and everything before we do this for real. Okay, so we need a USB key to save our files to. So we are going to save toolpath, G-code, selected toolpath, save toolpath, and we're going to use the USB drive that I just threw in there. Where is it? Popped up and then went away. iDrive. Google Backup Studio. Where is that? Linux. Oh, it's a... I don't know. There must be something on that. Let's find a different USB. There we go. Okay. Okay, so there's our pocket for the body. So let's pull up the pick guard, turn off the body, grab the cut for that. In the holes, I think we'll just drill those by hand. All right, so now this is going to be profile. So we're just cutting out, and then the depth of the is 0.091. So we're going to cut to a depth of 0.99. And we want the inside to cut out, and we don't need tabs, I don't think. I don't think we need tabs. Okay, so we'll call this pickup. Pickup opening. Okay, so we'll calculate, preview all toolpaths. Whoops. How about if we just preview the selected toolpath? Oh, there you go. Preview selected toolpath. There we go. Okay. So that'll be enough to cut through the... And we're going to use the 1/8 inch bit on that. Did I specify 1/8 inch? Yes. And then pocket 1 should be 1/4 inch. And this, it can be... Oh, and we want to make sure we're set to center datum. Yep. Okay. And we want to save that toolpath. G-code. Okay. All right, so there we go. So we can go up and start cutting this stuff out. So we will meet you out in the shop. Okay, here I am out of the shop. Sorry for the audio. I just didn't feel like messing with the lapel mic. This should be pretty quick. Okay, that's pretty much where it needs to be. Okay. This is stressful. Stressful. So that's the head. Okay, everything should be good. If I mess this up, then I gotta get a new pick guard. All right, nice clean cuts. So let's check it out, see how we did. Okay, there you go. That's great. A little bit of fuzzies on there from the. Yeah, that's there you go. There it is. So if we take our paper template and we hold it over it, then it's perfect. So that's exactly where we want it. So now we'll drop the pickups into it and then mark where those holes go. But we'll do that manually. We'll drill those in manually. Okay, I followed the same pattern. Put it over top of here. Found my center on the body. I've got it secured with some pieces of, this is yoga mat. I use it to just put tension on it so you don't have to run screws or anything through it. And so we're going to try it out and see how it goes. Okay, here I am out in the shop. I got the body on the bench here, and as you can see, routed out sort of the swimming pool route. You can see here I had a little a little problem. I was trying to, so I had programmed it into the CNC machine to cut out, and it cut out and worked just fine, but it wasn't big enough. The pocket wasn't big enough. So I thought, well, I'll just set it back on the CNC machine and I'll use the jog controls on the CNC machine. And for some reason, it kept going. It didn't stop. So I got that little, but that'll be covered up by the pick guard. So I took the hand router and did some extra routing just to make the hole a little bit bigger. And then as you can see for the, let's see, where can we see this the best? You can see here I had to extend that hole there a little bit. So I've already done a little preliminary work on figuring out where things go. I did also have an issue with the jack hole, which we're going to talk about in a second here. We're going to talk about these XGP parts in the body. And I'll give you sort of my impression of this. So first thing I'll say is the neck is awesome. It's really well done. There's no sharp fret ends. They're not stainless frets. They're not the ball end frets either, but the work is really well done. It's got a nice gloss poly finish on it. And then it's got that yellow, sort of antique yellow stain on it. Black nut, which is kind of odd, but black fret dots on the black side dots. But it's a really nice looking neck. The headstock I don't hate. It's actually not too bad. Now, let's talk about the body. Not great. Not great. There's some things going on here. I don't know if you can see it there. See how the wood is real feathery, real sort of frilly like? So that means that either their tools weren't sharp when they went to, route this out. I mean, you can even see it down here in the painted part. This paint is real rough, so it's a real, flaky job. It didn't cut smooth. And then if you can kind of tell on my routing job, it's nice and smooth. Even with my hand router, it's nice and smooth. So it's a decent piece of wood. It's supposed to be alder, I believe. Let me just check my... Yeah, alder. So it's supposed to be alder. And I know there's different types of alder. I've got some red. I got a red alder blank around here somewhere. And it doesn't look like this. I mean, this... I don't know. It almost looks like poplar to me. I mean, it's kind of heavy, not super heavy. And then they stamped this XGP logo in there, and it really distorted. The neck pocket is not nice and flat. It's, where they stamped this in, it actually made an indentation. So that neck pocket is not, I'm not really impressed with that. And there's a lot of sort of finish kind of on the edges. And so the neck itself didn't really fit. I don't know which camera to use here to show. See, there's quite a gap there. So it's not fitting real tight in the neck pocket. So hopefully that won't be an issue once we get the screws set. So then here's the pick guard that I did the routing on. And it's, it's kind of challenging to do this. I thought I had the pickups. The pickups should probably be moved over just a little bit. It's just a little bit off. But everything's going to line up okay. I kind of did some pre-tests here. And you can see that there's a gap. I don't know if you can see it in this camera. There's a kind of a little bit of a gap between the neck and the butt end of the neck and the pick guard. And then if you'll notice too, let me just take this one right off so I can show you. Here you can see the neck. The pick guard doesn't really, I mean, there's a little bit of space there. And then if you'll notice that when you get the pick guard situated where you want, see how the hole for the control pocket and then the, there's a little unevenness where the pick guard falls on that horn. So then this thing is going to have to kind of nudge toward the edge. And you'll see when I get it all set up with the other, with the bridge on there, how this is going to be really close. This is actually going to be right about there. It's going to be so close. So you can see how things aren't lining up exactly the way they should. So that's kind of unfortunate. But, you got to remember, too, that these are super inexpensive bodies. And the paint job on it is awesome. So, I mean, if you're just doing a cheap build, you know, that's kind of what this was meant to be. I can always, you know, I can always create my own body on the CNC machine, and then I'd have to take it somewhere and have it painted because I'm not a good painter. So, okay, another thing, what did I want to point out? Oh, the jack. So there, you know, I got the sort of that vintage style jack cup, and you can see how lousy this hole is. I did that because I had to make the hole bigger to fit, because the hole was not drilled big enough for one thing, and then it had finish in it, had paint in it. So this jack cup would not fit in there. And so the only, and it's really hard to drill out a hole that's already drilled out, especially that big. It ended up having to be pretty close to an inch. 7/8 of an inch didn't fit. 1 inch worked, but the only 1 inch bit I had was a spade bit, and those things are really, really destructive. And so this isn't quite the best. I mean, there's a little bit of, you can see kind of the, see how it's got a little bit of a gap there. I mean, the hole is not a hole. It's see how it looks like it was chewed with somebody's teeth. So, but for the purposes of this, I think it's going to be okay. So, okay, that aside, let's get going on this. I've kind of fit things together so that so I make sure everything's going to fit. Like I said, I did screw the pickups in. Oh, and another thing, their pickups come in a box. This is Arena Power. This is SBS 344, because this is a pair of humbuckers. One's a bridge and one's a neck. This one, Arena Power SBS 345, but the pickups themselves didn't say anything on them. They just says GFS on the back, so you have no idea. Once you take it out of the box, you have no idea which one's which. So I wrote on there 344, 345. I don't know if they're in the right position. I don't even know if it matters. I'm assuming it does. So let me go back to my order sheet here. Okay, so 345 is the neck, and I think I have them in the wrong order. Yep, I do. So I'll have to change those. But yeah, but it doesn't say neck or bridge on the box, and it doesn't say anything on the pickup about what it is. So keep that in mind. And then I had bought a jack separate, but the wiring harness came with a jack. And then I had bought the little Telecaster style 3-way switch or 5-way switch knob. It's like a teardrop shaped knob. I had bought that separate too, and one came in the package for the wiring harness. So you don't have to order, if you're following along, you don't have to order those. So I'll keep those for later. So and then the wiring harness, it's going to be a tight fit. So okay, so let's get going on this. I've been trying to size. That's what the string is for, the Bigsby bridge, and I was doing some sizing, and that's what the string is for. Okay, so we're going to start with the neck, and we want to put the tuners in it, at least so you got the little ferrules, and this neck is supposedly made for this hardware, and these ferrules are quite a tight fit. So we're going to have to we're going to have to make those bigger as well. Let's see if this is the right size. I think it is. Yeah. I think. So let me just... That might be good. That's better. Hey, we can take a rubber mallet and pound those in there. And I think I'll put the tuning keys on after. But at least we can get these ferrules in here. So we'll get the rubber mallet out. This is sort of a fret setting mallet. There we go. Yeah, so those aren't going anywhere. Okay, so we got one of the ferrules in, and then your tuners will go in there, and everything will be perfect. Okay, so let's set the rest of those. Okay, so those are in. That looks nice. All right, so now we are going to put the neck on. So what I'm going to do, got sawdust everywhere. I'm going to put the neck on, and then I'm going to clamp it, and then drill the holes from the back. Drill them just a little bit, just to get this so the screw will go in there. Of course, I got to put the plate back on it. This is kind of a pain in the rear end. Using a drill press might have been smart too, but not everybody has all the fancy tools. Just on this side, and then screw it down, and then take clamp off. Okay. There we go. were just, oh, that's better. Screws were just a little bit longer and a little bit heavier duty. They seem pretty, not the greatest. Whoops, to that drum. A little bit. Okay. My suspicion is I'm going to have to shim the neck. So I'm sure I'll have this neck off it again. There, that's better. See, look at the, not much of a gap there this time. So, okay. Good. All right, happy with that. Okay, so now we have to drill a few holes for these posts. So there's this bridge plate, the Bigsby. Okay, that's what holds your pickup. And then there's a bridge plate that is almost similar to like a Jazz Master, and it's got these, which don't really fit. That's interesting. It's pretty loose, but they go down into these things. So, which that seems odd. That seems, they fit loose. You'd think that they would just run it right into the wood, but whatever. Okay, so I've got holes marked for these. I believe I got my drill bit, which is the 11/32. Now, the directions say 23/64, which is what, 1/64 bigger than this. But I can't find a bit that big in my tool chest. So I'm just going to use this and hope for the best, because I tested it. It seems like it'll fit. I can tap it in. It should fit tight, so that's what you want. So then we're going to do the trick with the tape again. And we're going to put some tape on the end of the drill bit so we don't drill too far down. So we want to drill just far enough so that ferrule to sit in there. Okay, and then I've got my holes marked with tape. So let me just double check this again. I suppose you could leave the bridge intact and just drill, but I don't know if I don't want to hit that beam. So let me just mark it again with sharp this time. Okay. Position that right over. This is where a drill press would come in handy. You can use a little awl, like a punch tool too, to punch your center hole. But the drill will down too. That's probably why there's a little bit of play in these things, in case you don't get the hole dead center. I don't know. All right, let's see if that's gonna fit. Yep, it'll fit. It's going to be tight. my mic back on, damn it. Oh yeah. Look at that. Perfect. All right, next. There's always this nervousness factor drilling into a pristinely painted guitar body. All right, where's that other doodad? There it is. All right, there you go. So then this goes over that. Looks like it fits pretty good. Could have been a little better, but not terrible. And then the bridge fits right there. So now we got to put a tuner. We'll put a tuner in. Actually, we don't need to do that. We can just go right through the hole. So that's this red string came with the Bigsby. Whoops, not in it, of course. And that's what you sort of stretch across the fretboard to determine where the strings are going to go. So we're going to tie one end onto here. Let's move this over. Now you can't see it. There we go. So we'll tie one end on here. That'll go over our E string. That's not bad, I guess. Let's see what the high E looks like. Okay, high E is going to be right there. So like I said, my pickup is a little off center, but that should be good. This looks pretty decent. I think the low E is a little close to the edge, but I think we'll be all right. This thing could probably move over. Yeah, so I got a little bit off, but it should be okay. Okay, so now, so you take your Bigsby, and then there's little posts here. These are where the ball ends of the strings actually hook over that. So that's interesting. So we're going to put this right about there, and then we stretch this red string over these so we can determine where the there, I guess that's that. This one's not quite right though. So let me just double check the okay, so they're saying you want to actually flip this around and put the string around these little doodads. Yeah. then flip it over. And that's where your strings will be. And this bridge doesn't quite line up. The bridge itself is kind of like the low E is going to be there. The high E is going to be there. So the saddles on the Bigsby don't quite line up. That's crazy. I wonder if it needs to come forward. That doesn't matter either. So that'll be about right, I guess. I don't know if it's supposed to go kind of over the... Nope. Okay, well, it is what it is. This doesn't seem to quite line up, and that's about where they say it should be, is right there. Huh. I don't know how to explain this. Maybe I can show. So see, this is where it needs to be, right about there. And see how this high E and low E don't line up on the saddles? It's like each of the saddles are kind of too wide. So, but whatever, we'll make it work. Okay. Okay. All right, everything's still running good. Camera's still rolling. I think my audio's still rolling. Yep. Okay, we're about an hour into this, so. Okay, so saddles, yeah, okay. So we'll mark where this is gonna go. So that's, and it seems, oh, actually, you know what? I think the strings go under. Yeah, they do. They go under this bar. So I've got that wrong. So that's kind of creates the tension and holds it down. There we go. That makes more sense. Yeah, that makes way more sense. Okay. So maybe that will help it line up better. Because now the strings are being pushed over the saddle, but yeah, they still, wow, that's still weird how it kind of distorts the string. Let me put that right there. There, that's not bad. That should work. I think I'll fudge it over a little bit to the low E, since that's going to be a thicker string, and the high E. Okay. All right, so now we punch our holes where our drill, and then I think we'll put this on. Let me just double check and make sure that is going to be okay. Yep. Yeah, so the low E is going to be a little bit weird. There. That should be good. That should be good. Okay. Whew. Okay, that's where those are going to go. Yeah, okay. All right, small drill bit again. Let me see, where are the screws for, okay, and there's a spring in here too. Yeah, there we go, that's the spring that goes in the Bigsby under the, under here. Doesn't look like anything actually holds it in there. That's interesting. Like it's just tension, but if you push your, I guess you just push that out of the way. I don't know, that's weird. Seems like it should be held in there somehow, not just floating. Yeah, that's the way it works. Wow, okay. I've never had a Bigsby before in a guitar. Never installed one either. This is new territory, all new territory. Okay, drill bit. Small drill bit. Yep, there we go. This wood is super soft too, so I don't think it's alder. I really don't. I don't think it's alder. So who knows? There we go. Okay, so all right, there's Bigsby. And then, like I said, there's a plastic washer, and then this. So it's, yeah, I guess that's just. But I think once it's under string tension, it won't come out. Right, that makes sense. Okay, okay. So, let's see. So we got a few screws to put in. Let me take this blue tape off. A few screws to put in. Oops. I got the pick guard screwed down. Okay. The blue tape off. That was just on there for routing, so we didn't scratch the. Oops. And I dropped the spring. Way under there, of course. Okay. So now, let's see, we don't need the string anymore. I'll have to put the. Okay, so now we can do the wiring. So let's get the control plate out. Jack cup, we'll need that. We'll need these. Got sawdust everywhere. All right. Oh, another thing we should have done is put the ferrules in the back before we put the Bigsby on. That would have been helpful. And then in Mike Campbell's guitar, one of the ferrules is missing. Now, I will say, for the guitar fetish, this stuff is cut perfect. These ferrules, the holes for the ferrules are countersunk, and they're perfect. So, oops, of course I cracked the finish a little bit there. I'm still undecided about whether I should relic this. There's like a blemish here. You can see they probably put some wood filler in here. That might be a knot. You can see the little imperfections in the body when it's in the light. You can see there's a divot here, which probably is wood filler. Probably can't see it on camera. But yeah, I'm not wholly impressed with these bodies. So that's the low E ferrule, I believe, that was missing from the... I hope so, because that's the one I left out. Not going to be able to get him out of there. So, okay. Let's do the wiring. Wiring harness. Might have to go down and get the soldering iron for this, but we shouldn't because everything's quick connect. So we should be able to... They remember on the, I don't know if you watched my other video where I did the single humbucker and I had said something about putting a quick connect on the jack. Well, that's what they've done here. They actually put a quick connect on the jack. So the jack can go right in here. And I already put the metal, there's like a little metal bracket that goes into these are these vintage jack cups. Never used one of those before. I always use the ones with the screws. And this is sort of a weird, it's got a little metal thing in there with teeth on it that hold it in place. You sort of spread it out inside that thing. They're sort of notorious for being difficult to put in. There. And that doesn't fit real well, but whatever. But, you know, because that hole really should be, it should be countersunk. There should be a way to get that. And then usually this part of the Telecaster is flat. That the vintage is specs this part is flat because that jack is flat. But because this body is round, you can see the edge of it. It doesn't sit right tight. So yeah, not a big fan. Not a big fan of these bodies. So probably won't buy another one. but we'll make it work. I might have to drill more holes. Yep, these aren't going to fit. So we got to drill a bigger hole that way, and I have a long drill bit for that, so let me go get that. And hopefully remember to put my microphone back on again. We got the super long drill bit, so you can drill from this side and reach. Okay, let me remember to put my microphone back on. Okay, long drill bit. Like obnoxiously long, like way longer than it needs to be, I think. And then I'm going to put where did the tape go? Well, put some tape over this so I don't scratch the paint. And then we'll just make this hole. There we go, that's bigger. And then we might need to make that hole a little bigger. There. Okay, there. Sawdust everywhere. All right, so now let's put our, where's our control plate? Right here. So let's go ahead and put these in it. And again, I don't think they gave me enough hardware. Like the ones I bought for the, single humbucker, they stuck up too far. And these are probably going to do the same thing. Yep. So they only send you one nut and washer on these, but you need two nuts, two of these big nuts, because then it'll hold the post, you know, where you want it, instead of all the way flush, because now these things are going to sit up too high. So that's an issue. That's an issue we had in the last video. So I do have some nuts on here, but if I use them, I'll have to buy some other ones. We'll see if they're even going to fit. Yes. Okay. So let's see, which one's volume? I think that's my tone because that's got the cap on it. So we're going to do 5-way switch, volume, tone. So this will be tone. So as you can see that wash. So they only gave you one washer and one screw or nut, and you need another nut so that it doesn't fit. See how it holds it up? That's the way it needs to be. So then that, which I suppose I could just put some washers on it. I don't know if I've got any washers, but I'll just use these for now, and then I can get some more and fix. That's for a different build there. So then you put this cap on because you don't want it to stick up, you know. You want that to be relatively flush. But we'll worry about those after we get these on. So yeah, so a little frustrating dealing with cheap parts. But if you're building a cheap guitar, that's what you get. Not everything's going to fit. Tolerances aren't going to be great. Oh, these are full-size pots, by the way, so that's a good thing. They look like they're built really well. And then they got the, you know, that quick connect stuff. That's what I think is cool, but they just need to send bigger, you know, extra nut on there. So if anybody from Guitar Fetish is watching, do better. Okay, so that one, that should be our volume. Okay, so I got these screwed down, and then we'll put our 5-way switch in here, and the holes do line up, so that's a good thing. And I'm not sure, and this is a mechanical switch. I mean, their hardware is really good. I mean, look at that. That's a nice switch. It's not, you know, so for being cheap, it's not cheap, but it's not not cheap either. Some things, you know. Okay, so we'll put this on. And again, like I said, I have no idea which way this switch goes. So that'll probably have to get turned around when I'm done. Got a 50-50 chance of getting it right. And I can always put it in the wrong way, even though I only have 50-50 chance. Okay. So that was easy enough. That's the nice thing about these quick connect pre-made wire harnesses. So there, everything's all. Now the wiring is, there's a lot of extra. So hopefully, oh, and there's my ground. And my ground was supposed to go into this thing here, but I can probably come up under the bridge. Yeah, I'll probably just do that. Just come up under the bridge. So now we need to feed all these wires through here. And they all fit now because I made that hole so much larger. So then, let's see. And that's another thing. I don't know which. So I'm going to have to pull out the, let's see, we'll plug the jack in. And then we will plug in the amp. So I got a little PV amp down here. All right. Okay. So that'll be neck. That'll be middle. And then this one will be bridge. Okay, and then let's see if we got, that's volume. That's tone. Cool. Okay. All right. And it's buzzing really bad because the ground wire is right there. So the ground wire will be under the bridge. And it probably could do with some shielding too. So, okay, so then all you do is, I mean, these are quick connects, so they're the little 3.5 millimeter plug, like a mini jack or whatever they call it, and you just plug it in. I do want my ground wire to go through here too, so I can put it up under the bridge plate. So we're just gonna hook that right over the side of the, oops, no, we don't want to do that. We want it hidden, so we'll put it under here. Yeah, yep, that'll go under there. So let's see, let's just tape it. Tape the insulation down. There. There. So then that little wire, I don't know if you can see it, that little wire will touch the bridge plate. Oops. And ground everything out. All right, so then we need to shove all this stuff down in here. And it's a tight fit. Holy cats. All right. Okay, so then this, oh, so then I totally forgot which one of these was the bridge and which was the middle, or the neck in the middle. Okay, so that's the, okay, and then I got to swap these. Remember these weren't in the right order. So we will swap these out. All right. Okay, so we're going to mark these 344. .344 is the bridge, 12.8K bridge. So we're going to write on here 12.8K B bridge, which actually is going to be middle. So, and then this is the neck. And that is a 11K. 11K neck. Bridge and neck. Okay. So bridge. Which again is not the bridge, it's the middle. So, I don't know, might be a little hot for a middle pickup. Maybe. I just grabbed pickups that I thought looked cool. So, I don't know. All right, so we'll get these on here and then we'll plug them in. All right, bridge, neck. Oops. Lost one of our machine screws. Oof. Come on. There we go. All right, and then the last one. There we go. All right, so I'll raise these up. So when you're doing a build, you know, when you're making your own body, you really get to control the tolerances. And the nice thing about the CNC machine is you can, or working off a template, if you buy those acrylic templates, that's the neck. Then you can, you know where everything's going to go. There we go. Meaning that, you can, like if you're going to put a Bigsby in it, you can design all that into the template so that all your holes and everything are where they're supposed to be. You'll have the proper clearance around your pick guard. All that stuff will be, accurate. Okay, so everything's good. So now we can screw everything down. String this baby up and try it out. All right. Small drill bit. Let's see. Oh, and strap buttons. You need to put strap buttons on. Let's see. What were these for? That was for that. It's also probably a good idea to, you know, maybe do like when you're cooking, you know, have little trays or whatever with all your parts and maybe label them. Okay, this is the bridge plate. This is the control panel. These are the screws for the control panel, so you don't lose things and then go, oh, what is this for? Then we got to put the string trees on and strap buttons. Okay, control plate. There we go. Knobs work good. Okay, so then we'll put these screws back into the pick guard. Hopefully I can find more screws for the pick guard. And now we will screw down the bridge plate for the Bigsby, if I can find the screws for it. Well, where did they go? Oh, there they are. Ooh. Okay, so those will need maybe a little bit bigger drill bit. And we're gonna, that's too big. That's too big. This will be fine, but we're gonna have to drill down. Pilot holes are a good thing because you'd be surprised how easy it is to snap a screw off, especially if it's really hard wood like ash, or, you know, I don't know. I don't think this is alder, but whatever. So it's a good idea to put pilot holes the length that the screw is going to be. All right. Cool, here we go. Wow, it's looking good. It's looking good. All right, so we'll keep that ferrule. This in, so I guess we can string it up. Oh, string trees, but those we'll put on strap buttons, string trees. We can put the strap buttons on now. All right, where did that go? Well, where the heck did that go? Oh, there. And then another thing, the strap buttons from Guitar Fetish didn't come with any of these little felt, you know, washers, I guess you could call them. I had a bunch, but still, they should, you know, it would be great if they came with those. These are nice strap buttons, though. Super nice. But yeah, see the little felt. I mean, some people may not care about that, but protects the guitar finish, I guess, or keeps it from slipping, or I don't know. Maybe it's not necessary. I just like them because they're on all the guitars I've had. So we'll put them on this one. All right, so strap button on the back. We'll mark it with a punch, if I can find my punch. There it is. We're gonna go right there. There, nice. And we'll put another one right, whoops. And then the string trees we'll put on when the, oh, I gotta put the tuners on too. Yeah, that might help. So we're gonna put this one right about there. Strap button. Oop. I heard the finish crack. Yep, it sure did. Oh. That sucks. Wow. So the finish on this is kind of brittle or something. It chipped in another spot too, but I don't know. That's part of what doing the pilot holes is supposed to prevent it from chipping, but not super heavy. Okay, string trees we'll put on after a bit. Now it's now the tuners. Get the tuners on. See if we can get this camera over here so we can see what we're doing. Oops, stupid bridge. Don't need that rubber thing on there. Ah, there's a little felt foot on there. That's weird. Is that normally like that? Okay, yeah, I guess. I don't see that staying on. There's a little felt foot on there. Okay, let's do headstock, the tuners. Let's get this camera set so you can see. All right, so I actually have to do this way. There we go. Tuners seem like they're good quality. We'll see if everything lines up. So far, so good. Oh yeah, they got those cut good. The tuning holes. Yeah, shit, those are perfect. Look at that. Yeah, that's perfect. That's no complaints there. Look at that. Okay, so now we need super tiny drill bit. And we will take our all punch and mark. We might want to leave, let's see. So I think I'm going to clamp that there. There, so now they won't move. And we can punch our holes. So we know where to drill. You can see, I don't know if I'm blocking the screen. Oh, shit. That thing fell off. There we go. All right. Take those out, and I can see my holes. All right, so then we take our super tiny drill bit, super tiny, and it's, I mean, these screws are super tiny, so it's just a tad smaller than the diameter of those screws, which is what you want. And again, you don't want to drill in very far. We'll eyeball this one. Oops. I think we'll be all right. So this is maple. So being that this is really hard wood, let me put a little piece of tape on there so then I can drill down as far as the screw. Oops, bumping that camera. All right. These are really good tuners. These are really nice tuners. I'm impressed with that, so that is cool. And okay, so we're gonna need a really small screwdriver. Okay. And like I said, string trees we'll put on after we string it up. And then we got to make sure that intonation's set and the string height is set. And I've never used a Bigsby. I mean, there's a regular saddle on it, so that should be easy enough to adjust the intonation and everything. But all right. There we go. Tuners. All right. Guitar's getting heavier every minute. Okay. And adjusting the intonation on these is going to be it doesn't show. I mean, the screws are pointing backwards. I'm assuming that it's got to go. That can't be right. Maybe. Show a picture of it somewhere. There it is. Oh, nope. The screws are to the back. How do you get in there to adjust the intonation with the strings to the back with this giant thing in the way? Huh. I don't know. That's bonkers. I don't know. I don't know who designed that. Bigsby. Did he, yeah. Okay. All right. This spring goes in here. There. All right. Where does that go? Under there. That goes under there probably. There we go. Yeah, yep. Okay. Perfect. Take the plastic off those. And we'll tighten down these guys. Allen screws. Okay. I think that's it. Okay, nice knob. Okay. There. Perfect. All right. There we go. Let's string it up. Put the string trees on, and then we are done. All right, there we go. Cool, and then put the rest of the screws in for the pick guard, which I don't have enough of, I don't think. No, I got 2 more, so I can probably put these on, and then we'll have to find some more. All right. There. Okay, then we'll take the plastic off. There. All right, there it is. Let's string it up, see how it sounds. Okay, so got a package of strings. These are kind of heavy. These are 12s. They're jazz light gauge, they call it. I had bought a bunch of these really cheap just for you know, setting up guitars, and you know, because sometimes when you're making adjustments to necks and things like that, you take the strings off and on, and it's always good to have just a, you know, pair of strings that, you know, just to work with. So that's what these are. But they sound good. The tone is pretty great on a heavy string, which is why Stevie Ray Vaughan, I believe, liked the heavy strings. Okay, so now this Bigsby thing, it is interesting. You wrap the post of the ball end of the string around this little, there, oh boy. There we go. So it wraps around and then it goes under, oh man, this is a trip. It goes under this, then over the bridge. Wow. Okay, where is this? My Allen wrench. That's not right. I need, there we go. I think this will do. Yeah. Okay, so we need to raise these saddles. And like I said, the intonation, I don't know how to set the intonation, because once you get, you're not going to be able to get in there. Man. I don't know, man. I guess I'll just fudge it, pull them back a ways. I don't know. You'd almost have to have a right angle Phillips screwdriver to get in there, because those aren't Allen. If they were Allen heads, that might work. Okay, so yeah, getting these strings to latch onto these posts is kind of fun too. Yeah, it doesn't want to stay. Wow. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Oh, good. These have the slots. I love the slotted, slotted, you can't see here, hold on, let me show you. The slotted peg heads, those things are great because they're super easy. You just sort of come out a ways, cut that off, push it down in, and then tune it up. I think it's better than a locking tuner. I don't know why. I mean, bass guitars have those. Why don't all guitars have those? See, now you just stick it down in that hole and then tune it up. And it locks it in place. And then if you have to do work on it, you can, loosen the tension up and pop that right off of there. This might even be too many wraps. We'll see. I only like to go around once on the big strings, maybe twice. That's going to be too much, I can tell. Yeah. So real quick, there it is. Let's see where the string height is at the 12th. Oh, it's pretty low. Probably too low. We'll see. Might have to raise this. This saddle up a little bit. That's better. Okay. Next. This is weird. I don't know. I don't know if I dig the Bigsby or not. Should probably definitely use good strings because you're wrapping around that post there, and if the ball of your string pulls out, that's it, man. Yeah, these things are really goofy. There we go. And it's hitting this, I don't know, yeah, these saddles are definitely not tall enough. And then, like I said, I don't know how I'm going to adjust the intonation on this. There we go, that's better. There we go. Pulled off again. Yeah, I don't know. Seems really sketch, but whatever. Okay. Nut slots seem cut good. Oop, that thing's just about pulling off of there, you sucker. There we go. And of course I don't have a tuner out here, do I? Nope. So I'll have to run inside and get a tuner. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to adjust the intonation on this thing. Might have to Google that. Might be a good Google. Okay, those are good. Okay. Oh, let's see. There's that thing. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, this is something definitely old school. Oh, you son of a bitch. Okay, come on now. There we go. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay, almost there. Ah. Definitely can't be in a hurry to change your strings out on this thing. Oh, that thing didn't want to stay in there. The scary part is it's all on tension. These little pegs are just holding the ball end of the string, and it's all tension. there's no lock on it or anything to really keep it from coming off of there. I do like these tuners though. These are really nice tuners. All right, last one. Oop. Oh, string trees, right. Okay, so string trees. Okay, so I'm going to pull my phone down so I can find a picture of the Mike Campbell. Mike Campbell Red Dog, and see if they show the headstock. So we can tell where the string trees go. Not a close-up picture, but there is a picture. There we go. Okay, so they're right about here. These two, and then above that. So, okay. And these are both the same size. They have the little spacer. And then we'll use that drill bit. So we're going to go here. Oops, where's my punch? There's my punch. There's one. We're going to put one hole. So there's one tree, and then the other one will go right above it, slightly above it. All right. And we'll have to loosen the strings a little bit. Okay. Try not to break them. All right. And we're going to screw these in by hand because we don't want to strip them out. Get my fat head out of the way so you can see. Yeah, see, that didn't go down far enough because this is maple, so it's really tough to run a screw into. So you got to make sure the screw, yes, that's not the right depth. Because you will snap off the screw. I was putting together my kitchen cabinets and putting the doors or the hardware on them, and they're all maple, and oh boy, I broke off a lot of screws. That is not fun. Oh, it went through. I'll be damned, it did. Geez, these screws are, oh, because of the spacer. Okay, well, whatever. God damn it. Well. There we go. All right. Where's the other? Oh, come on, really? Oh, there it is. Okay, so we got strung up. Let's see. All right, so we need a tuner, and okay, let's check a couple things out real quick. We'll see what the weight is on it. £8. Not bad, not bad. I mean, that Bigsby adds quite a bit of weight to it. And then we'll put it on a strap here and see how it balances. So, yeah, right. Not really neck heavy at all. So, all right, so. God damn it. Jesus. Fuck. Okay. So now we want to tune it up and set the intonation on it. And then, of course, this plastic washer that I think is supposed to fit under here came off. I don't know if I can get it back under there or not. So, I don't know. This thing's filthy. All right, let's get this down for a second. So it seems like the intonation is not bad. know if you can see it. Sounds pretty good. All right, there it is. Okay, let's take this downstairs and plug it in. See how it sounds.
Okay, finally back down in the studio. It's been a few days. I've been working on editing this video. This video turned out to be really long, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the long version, which shows everything, on my YouTube channel that has the CNC stuff on it. And then I'm going to put an abridged version, abbreviated version rather, on the regular channel so that people, because it's over 2 hours long, nobody's going to sit through that. So anyway, how did it turn out? Let's check it out. So here it is. This is it. Turned out really nice. Let's talk about some of the components and fit and finish. So let's do a review on it real quick, and then we'll plug it in and play it. So, like I said, I think it came out to 8 pounds. The neck is beautiful. So the Guitar Fetish necks are really nice. I did make a mistake though. I drilled all the way through the headstock when I was putting one of the string trees in. So that's on me. These vintage tuners are really nice from Guitar Fetish, are really nice, and they fit perfectly. So you got your string trees there. The fretwork on this neck is excellent. No sharp fret ends. They're not stainless. They're just nickel frets, but the fretwork is done really well. So I had complained about the body. And okay, I'm just noticing this. There's already a stress crack in the neck joint right here. So anyway, the body was not great. I'll probably never buy a body from Guitar Fetish again. You know, the neck pocket is not good. It's not level. It's not smooth. And then when they stamped that logo in it, it distorted it, so it's not a flat. And then the neck did not fit tight into the pocket. And these are XGP necks and XGP bodies, so you would assume that they would fit perfect. When you're working with a CNC machine and you're building stuff on a CNC, I've gotten necks to fit just perfect, like a glove. And then so the pick guard was off a little bit. You know, this top part of the pick guard didn't quite line up with the horn. It should be shifted over a little bit, and then the control plate was really, really close to the edge. So the contours and the shapes and everything on this body were not correct. And then it's supposed to be, I don't know if it claims to be vintage spec, but they say USA spec. But the vintage Telecasters have a little bit of a flat spot right here where the jack cup is. And that's because that jack cup is flat and it sits, in that flat spot. And if you look on patterns for the old-timey, but then again, this might be modern spec. But the neck is vintage spec because it's got holes for the vintage tuners, so who knows. But that's been my experience building Partscasters with parts you get from the internet, from Amazon or wherever. Nothing fits. Nothing matches, nothing fits. So my advice to anyone putting together a Partscaster is buy all your parts first, and then get your body, you know, figure out what to do with the body. Don't get a body with pre-done holes in it or whatever unless you know it's going to fit, because the one thing that did fit was the ferrules in the back. Those fit perfect. But then, like I said, when I was putting the one in, the finish cracked a little bit here. So this finish is really super hard. It's like, you know, it chipped here when I put the, despite the fact I got that little, and I drilled a pilot hole. So this finish is really, really brittle. So that's kind of interesting. So anyway, I wouldn't do one of these bodies again. But anyway, it served its purposes. You know, I got it to work. It wasn't so bad that I couldn't make it work. And then the Bigsby thing, this thing is basically a third of the cost of the guitar. I spent just over $600 in the Bigsby trem, or whatever you want to call it, vibrato. Anyway, that was close to 200 bucks. So that alone was a lot of the cost. And then I do really like the Guitar Fetish quick plug pickups and wiring harness. That was really nice. So then I think I said somewhere in the video that I might have to shim the neck, which I did not. It's perfect. I think the action's actually pretty good on it too. At the 12th fret, we're now, oh, it's a little high. It's about 2.25, and then the high E is 1.5 or 1.75. Looks like 1.5. So not too terrible. A little high on this side, but so I raised those saddles, you know, as I was stringing it up and everything, and they kind of came out to the right spot. And then I was worried about the intonation, because the screw head for the bridge is behind here, so you can't get a screwdriver in there. So I just kind of eyeballed them and adjusted them real quick, and the intonation actually turned out pretty good. It's close enough. I mean, it's really close. So yeah, what else can I say about it? It actually turned out really well. Like I said, I got the holes for the pickups a little too far that way. They should have come centered a little bit more. But I don't know if you can see it in the, it's, you know, it's not bad. The strings kind of fall over the, you know, over the pickups. So, all right, let's plug it in, tune it up, and give it a go. All right, here we go. We got it plugged in, and it sounds really good. So we got the tone all the way up, the volume all the way up, and we're on the bridge single coil. And here's the, now this is a 5-way switch, like a, so that would be the bridge and middle. There's the middle. And the neck and middle. And the neck. All right, put a little distortion on it here.
middle. And the neck. So yeah, it's, oh yeah, and I didn't mess with the trem. Let me do that so you can hear how that sounds. We'll go back to a clean. So it's, you know, you can adjust the vibrato up or down. It's, you know, you can pull back on it or you can push down on it. So it's like a floating trim. And it's kind of awkward. I don't know. It's the way the arm is. You can't really, I mean, because there's the spring in here, and it really doesn't, I mean, it's kind of subtle. You can't really dive. But it's, you know, it's an older style vibrato, so seems to stay in tune too. Let me just check the tuning on it real quick, see if it, yeah, it went out a little bit. These are new strings though, so. Yeah, it's it's pretty awesome. I think it turned out pretty good for just whipping something together pretty quick. I mean, I didn't, you know, I just went online like you saw in that one video and bought all the components and brought it back. And if you want to see the full video, I'll put a link in the description for the video, you know, for my CNC channel. And then I'll just do a quick overview for this one. But yeah, it turned out really nice. I'm going to put a decal on the headstock. I'm going to call it the Crimson Canine. It's called the Red Dog, so I'm going to name this one Crimson Canine. So anyway, there you go. That's it. That's the Mike Campbell Red Dog Telecaster Partscaster, using more or less all Guitar Fetish parts, save for the Bigsby vibrato on it. And so yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you next time.